What's up, everybody? It's the 86th edition of the Countdown, a top 10 show, usually on the world of movies. And we're live. It is indeed a movie topic tonight. We're still talking about the year that was 2025. Tonight, we'll be discussing our favorite films of the year. This is not necessarily our favorite films of the year, but something I wanted to talk about with somebody that I know also sees a lot of movies, and not necessarily everyone else gets to check out. The top 10 underseen films of the year. And the bottom kind of put under the radar, if you will. The way I at least kind of went by it was I went through a good old letterbox. Hey, look, follow me, JP Owens. And I kind of put down through popularity, and then just went to the end, saw like what wasn't popular, but was still well reviewed here. So again, not necessarily always our favorites, but things we do recommend that maybe you hadn't seen. If you did, cool, let us know, and let us know if you have any kind of under the radar films from last year. Joined here by everyone's favorite. I'm sure he's somebody's favorite.
Everyone's.
At least one person, Brian.
Oh, okay, one person. My wife would say yes. Sure, there you go. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, this is actually. She said top 5, maybe, but
well, when you see her next, tell her no. No, this I like this as a fun topic idea, just because it's like you, I see a lot of obscure shit that almost none of my friends see. Now, not everything on my list is like that. A lot of them are ones that at least people have heard of, maybe. But I was surprised at how far down in popularity, how few people on Letterboxd had actually seen some of these movies. So just give them a little bit of attention.
Absolutely, yeah, that's what we're here for. Yeah, it's something I thought about last year. Definitely wanted to do it this year. What's right outside your top 10? What's your honorable mentions?
Let me see. First I have the movie Cleaner, which is basically Daisy Ridley's Die Hard. It was directed by Martin Campbell, who did I think did GoldenEye for James Bond. He did Green Lantern. What's that? Mask of Zorro. He did. Good director, a good action director. And Daisy Ridley, has been kind of hit and miss in her post Star Wars stuff. But this was clearly, it was just like one of those Die Hard ripoff movies. It definitely felt like a straight to VOD movie, although I actually saw it in a theater for the 1 week it was out there. And it was fun. It wasn't anything great, but it was enjoyable. So that just missed the cut. You want me to do all 5 of mine?
Yeah, just run through your 5.
Okay. Just this past week, I watched Queens of the Dead, which is basically a zombie outbreak takes place, and there's this club full of like drag queens, and there's also like some lesbians, all these people in there. They're basically fighting off the zombies. And I watched it mostly because Katie O'Brien's in it, who I really like her, and she's kind of one of the main characters in it. And it was actually a ton of fun. I didn't expect to like as much as I did. Again, it's not going to make my top of the year or anything like that, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Third, I have The Family McMullen, which is the sequel to The Brothers McMullen from like 1996 or whenever that came out. This one flew completely under most everybody's radar. It had a one night only like Fathom event showing or something in theaters, which I actually went to see, but then it like just appeared on like HBO Max 3 weeks later or something. Brothers McMullen, I've always been kind of like on, because it feels very much like somebody's first film, which it was. But this one is actually, I thought it was a really good, kind of, family comedy. It's kind of showing the next generation, and it's got a lot of rom-com kind of stuff in it. I enjoyed it, had fun with it. Borderline. John, I don't think you were as big on this one. This was Samara Weaving and Ray Nicholson. This was not going to make my top 10, but it just made an honorable mention because I had a lot of fun with it. Ray Nicholson was obviously having a ball, just like sinking a seat in this role. And Samara Weaving is kind of like the scream queen of the moment. So she's in like all these horror movies. But this is another one. It's a horror comedy. Love the fuck out of this. And my last one is a movie called Odessa. This is a Hulu movie starring Sadie Sink from Stranger Things as this musician. And it's a musical, technically speaking. And she does all her own singing. I had no idea she could sing, but she does a great job. The songs are kind of almost like a folk kind of thing. It's like almost a post-apocalyptic future, but she's going to try to compete on this American Idol style show, and it's a weird story. I don't claim to even understand it after I've watched it twice, but I enjoyed the movie. I liked her especially, and I thought she did a great job with the music. So those are my 5 honorable mentions.
Nice, and that's what I love about the show. Only saw 1 out of 5 of those. I think I've only heard of 2 out of 5 of those, so I love it. Kind of on the cusp for me, the Hulu remake of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Funny enough, I actually just organically watched the original, and then like 2 weeks later saw the trailer for this, and I was like, "Did I summon this movie?" So that was kind of a funny coincidence. Yeah, thought it was all right. I think it finally peaks up towards the end here, and again, shout out to I think it's Mike Monroe again. Um, Kevin James on the bottom of my list this year for Playdate, but also on an honorable mention for here with Guns Up. I like
Oh, I
the
thought you were played in on this list. I'm like, oh my god.
no. Will Cohen was here. It would have been top five, but no. Playdate's on my bottom 10. But Guns Up is on one honorable mention for this one here. This one at least kind of knows what it is. He's a family man who just wants to he has to become kind of a hitman or anything. Just put food on the table here. He works for Melissa Leo and Louis Guzman, who's fun. There's some good action sequences. He fights a wrestler, so that's a bonus point for me. Uh, the pickup, Eddie Murphy. I guess not enough people saw this.
I almost put that on my list. Yeah.
Decent enough laughs. I kind of wish this just stayed more comedy and didn't try to become this action film kind of towards the last half, because I thought that's what worked the best, was kind of some fun chemistry between him and Pete. Again, perfect role for Pete Davidson as well, and Kiki and stuff. It wasted a wrestler though in Roman Reigns, high up in the beginning credits, and then he literally has like one line. If you remember the guy that they show up to, they have to like get him out of the building. That guy. But that's just a side point. I don't understand you. With Nick Kroll.
Okay.
I'm very mixed on this because I just thought it was a little mean spirited. Like they're good, they're a nice couple looking to adopt a kid from Amanda Seyfried. But then like they end up committing murder. All right, but then they like actually really kind of go into it too much. So I just kind of lost all nerve for the characters, and I felt like one joke repeated.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that one, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought it looked really good. And I went and saw it. I thought it was decent, but I didn't enjoy it near as much as I hoped to. I thought it was going to be funnier, honestly. It was pretty
right,
good.
and that's why it's on the cusp of like there's meat here, but yeah, not enough to where it's a big recommendation or even in the top 10.
Yeah.
And then California King, the movie starring Jimmy Tatro that you thought didn't exist on the 2025 trivia. Again, kind of a bit overplotted at points, but I do really like him, and he is kind of a slacker, wants to impress this girl. His buddy is one of the buddies from Dave the Little Dicky show. Little Joe McHale getting to kind of flap his wings as a bit of a bad guy, funny bad guy, but a bad guy was interesting. So enough to where liked it, didn't love it, but liked it enough. What do you got at number 10 here?
At number 10, I have Neighborhood Watch. This is a movie starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Jack Quaid. Malin Ackerman also has a small part in it. This is a movie that pretty much nobody saw. It didn't. I don't even know if they got a theatrical release. It's on Hulu right now if you want to check it out. The movie itself, it's kind of a basically Jack Quaid is this guy who has this, he has all these mental illnesses and things. He's taking medication for it. He thinks he sees this woman being kidnapped, and he wants to try and go find her and save her. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is this guy who's like I think he's a security guard. And he like his neighbor. He goes to get his help to try to help him track down and find this girl. But everybody doesn't believe him. They think he's just seen things because he's always had these problems in the past. The movie itself, the mystery itself, is kind of okay. But I love the chemistry between Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Jack Quaid and their characters. I think that they make a great couple. It's a great kind of odd couple. They're kind of working together, but they clearly have very different personalities. And I said in my review, I would love if they made like a series, like a TV show, just following these guys, just looking into a different, mystery or case or whatever each week, just to watch these two just play together. It was fun.
So I have a weird thing to add to this actually here. As you were speaking, I was thinking to myself, like, why is this not on my list? I like this movie. I think I finished it at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and just fell asleep and never logged it. So I am with you on this is a decent movie here. I originally saw it on even before Hulu, on AMC Plus. I either had a free subscription or it was 99 cents, and I was interested enough where I was like, yeah, let me see this, because the first half of the year I asked what movie has Jack Quaid been in, because he was in like this Companion,
like 5 of them this year,
yeah. So that he was one of the questions at the beginning of the year. So I was always interested in this. I love me some Jeffrey Dean Morgan too here, and yeah, they both have their unique characteristics here. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, kind of an overzealous security guard, and whatnot, and their pairing is really interesting. So yeah, kind of an all around role. Honestly, definitely, actually, and I'm looking at my 10. Probably would have definitely been in the 10 too. Just yeah, didn't one of the rare overseas. I know that happens every once in a while too. I'm trying to get now into the logic of at least
Oh,
putting
I'm
my
waiting for you to say
notepad.
something that I forgot about. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, normally I'm pretty decent at logging everything. So, but every once in a while, those 2 a.m. movies will get you. Coming in at number 10, we've talked about this a little bit in like one of our chats. Paradise Records. It's from the rapper Logic. He directed and starred in this movie here. One of the reasons I went out to see it right away is it's kind of view askewish because Jay and Silent Bob do indeed appear in it as Jay and Silent Bob, and Kevin Smith even edited the movie here too, so it's actually well edited. Hey, I wanted like this more. It's a day in the life of this record store that's not doing so great. He's a nice guy. He gives money to his uncle, which is played by him in old man makeup. He actually does decent as that. I think he is likable. There are times though where you could tell that I don't know if they didn't have much to do for some of the cameos. Like, for instance, Bobby Lee shows up, and like you could cut that scene out. Like, they're just kind of talking. Like, it's actually after this scene with the dad, and you can just tell they had him on set for like an hour. And like, let's film, and maybe funny shit will happen. Justin Long's cameo is kind of wasted, in my opinion. But then you have other fun cameos. David Krumholtz is actually funny what he gets to do for just a tiny bit here. If you like music again, Oliver Tree pops up in this, so there's enough to where I was at least continually kind of engaged there. I like his friend that they do kind of have the same jokes again, kind of repeated, and maybe MVP Tony Revolori, who gets high and thinks he's in a movie. When they kept saying the N word, and he was like, "What is this, a Tarantino movie we're in?" And anyway, so what do you have at number 9?
At number 9, I have the movie 40 Acres. 40 Acres is a movie starring Daniel Deadweiler, who's in The Harder They Fall and a few other things. No other names I really recognize in the cast. It's basically kind of this post-apocalyptic world in the United States and Canada and stuff. I don't think even say like what caused it, but like the world's kind of decimated. The technology is kind of limited. There's famine going on, so everybody kind of has like their own farms and communities and things that they're trying to survive with. It feels basically like The Walking Dead without any zombies. It's like these everybody has like their own communities they built, and then there's like these roving parties of raiders who they're trying to fight off. And so it's basically a survival tale. But this is one that I think I saw a trailer for it. I was like, oh, this looks decent. But then I heard good things about it and ended up finally checking it out. And I actually really did enjoy this quite a bit. Because I think that Daniel Deadweiler did a great job in it. I like the story to it. Just very well made, and most people I know haven't even heard of it. So,
yeah, I definitely heard of it. I remember the poster even too. But yeah, it's one I haven't gone to, but I've always clicked on it before. Because as you can see, it's on Hulu and whatnot. So something I will definitely try to get to. Coming in at my number 9, always got to show some love to the Boosh. Steve Buscemi in Psychotherapy. Again, a movie that does exist. That was brought up on trivia. Or it's got one of those Birdman titles too. Hold on, let me look it up. Psychotherapy, the shallow tale of a writer who decided to write about a serial killer. So if this movie was more popular, that would be a trivia question, but it won't be because no one watches this movie. So yeah, John Majaro, you might see a guy that's been in a few things. His wife kind of wants to leave him. His publisher doesn't want to pick up his new book. Runs into Steve Buscemi, who is very creepy, fun Steve Buscemi. Tells him he should write about a serial killer. Later on, reveals that he is one. And then hijinks ensue. There is definitely moments of kind of a bit contrived hijinks. There's a really interesting way he knocks somebody out. I'll just say that. Kind of stealing the show though actually is the wife Brooke Lower. She has a fun kind of a arc in this as well, and gets to have a lot of fun in this as well here. So still dug the performances, dug what was happening. Psychotherapy, that long title I already forgot. What do you got at number 8?
Number 8 is a movie called Beckham Hall. This was a spoof movie that came out just towards the end of the year. Basically kind of taking on like the Downton Abbey, Bridgerton, all those kind of stuffy British house movies. This one, it's like I really wanted to like Naked Gun because the spoof movies used to be great, and then they came into that era with like date movie and epic movie and all that shit, which is just awful. They just thought let's just drop names of movies and characters and it'll be funny. So spoof movies had died. Naked Gun was coming out this year, the new one. I wanted to like that one more than I did. It was decent, but I didn't laugh nearly as much as I thought I would. Went and saw this one, thinking I'm not going to really appreciate this much because I have not watched the things they're spoofing. I have not watched Downton Abbey. I have not watched Bridgerton. But I still had a ball with this one. I mean, I think that part of that was just because it's got a great cast. It's got Thomas and Mackenzie from like Jojo Rabbit and stuff. She was in there. The main guy there, the father of the houses, Damian Lewis, Catherine Waterston's in there. Tom Felton, Draco Malfoy is in there. This is a movie that it's one of those things. It's the kind of spoof movie you used to get where they're like, for every joke going on in the foreground, there's something else going on in the background. And it's like, if you watch it a second time, you'll catch even more stuff. And I thought they were very successful at the tone of it. It was funny, but it wasn't like obnoxious and annoying like those, like I was talking about the Date movie and Epic movie and those were. And I thought it was just very successful. And I can only imagine that if I enjoyed it as much as I did, anybody who's like actually watched those things might even get more out of it. So I don't know.
No, that's cool. No, my buddy Pez, yeah, quite enjoyed it as well here. Yeah, that was kind of my only hesitation was, not being a Downton Abbey guy, wondering how it was. But I saw Jimmy Carr, who's in it a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe also wrote it, or at least co-wrote it, and I love him.
I didn't even know that
funny,
part.
so I could see it being a pretty smart written movie here, and a big Damian Lewis fan. And I don't know if he's in it much, but still, it's definitely something I am quite interested in. As well. And just to answer Acres, I know Paradise Records you can straight up own for like $10 in VOD. It came out pretty cheap from the get-go. As well for if it's Blu-ray DVD though, I'm not sure. Coming in number 8, not a creature feature, but an animal attacks feature rather. Coyotes, which is it's more or less what you're gonna get from the trailer and from the premise of this here. A little town in like LA, and I was being invaded by killer coyotes who are also never really explained as to why they're kind of smarter than you might think they are. They literally open a door at one point. But you got Justin Long, who's kind of become the new Scream, I guess, king instead of queen. He's in this, plays very kind of more back to the nice Justin Long, not the kind of barbarian Justin Long, but the nice Justin Long. And, he's a family man, got a daughter, a wife, and, they're thrown into this, this animal attacks feature here. A couple kooky characters popped up. There's a fun neighbor who's on drugs. He has a cool, couple scenes that make you laugh. If you're wondering where Kate Bosworth is, it's right here. Kate Bosworth, she's right here. She's still around. So that's good to know. Coyotes had enough fun with it. Coming in at my number 8. What you got?
I almost put that on my list. I'm not even quite sure why I didn't, because I actually did enjoy it. I just don't remember it very well. Yeah. It's kind of one of those things I was like, I enjoyed it, and then it's kind of left my brain.
I could see that. It's something I've probably seen in the last at least month, if not a little over a month. So maybe in 6 months, it might be a little more forgettable. But
my next one is I refer to as Bullet Plane, and that is Fight or Flight. Fight or Flight is a movie. I think it's made by like Sky Media, like the cable company in England. It's essentially Bullet Train, but on a plane instead. With a much lower budget, with a much smaller, lesser known cast. Like Josh Hart's the star, Katie Sackhoff's got a good sized role in there. Pretty much everybody else I've not heard of. A couple faces look slightly familiar, but it's definitely a lower budget affair, so you got to go in expecting accordingly. But it's also the most fun I've seen Josh Hartnett having maybe ever, because he normally kind of seems very serious and stuff. Even when he's in movies where that might be a little bit wacky, like 40 Days, 40 Nights, he's kind of almost playing the straight man half the time. And this one, there's times when he just gets to just finally let loose. But yeah, it's basically he's an assassin and he's on this plane, and then it turns out the person that he's there for, there's a whole groups of other assassins who are also after the same person, and he has to try to decide who he wants to side with, who he wants to protect. And it's just another movie that I think went so under the radar because it was such a small budget thing, but it was a lot of fun, and I also just like seeing Josh Hartnett kind of this resurgence. I like that he's having, but I haven't loved most of the movies he's done, like Trap. I didn't really care for, things like that. But this one, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, this one, I'm trying to think where, because I have it at 3 stars myself, so it's kind of another one, kind of like you said, maybe your version of Coyotes. Like I have it, maybe forgot about it a little bit here. You do feel the budget a little bit, but yeah, I had fun with it as well. And like you said, Hartnett is having fun. He's definitely the reason to watch. I would say is Hartnett. I know Edgar's throwing some stuff. I didn't see Mastermind. I don't know if you've seen Mastermind. No, I don't think Song Blue is going to be much of Underseen. It just kind of came out with Hugh Jackman. I'm not sure what Rosemead and
Den of Winter is. What is Rosemead? Den of Winter I've heard of, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's an action flick with the I don't know, be the older actors. Oh, I think Sackhoff's pretty good. I like her, and she's great in Battlestar.
And no, that's not okay.
Number 7, I have a movie called Kill Me Again, which is kind of a little bit of the inspiration for this show here because I actually saw somebody else mention this on like a Underseen streaming movies you probably didn't see, and I was like, oh, I do want to see that, and I actually did enjoy it here decently here. One of my favorite teen angst shows growing up was Roswell, Dawson's Creek, but with aliens, baby. And it's two of the stars from that, Brendan Furr and Mahendra Delfino, are the two leads in this. Brendan Furr is a serial killer who, goes to this diner one night, has kind of this nice flirtations with the waitress, ends up killing her. All of a sudden, you have a little bit of a Groundhog Day effect, and he's back in the diner, and the waitress is alive, and he's just going through the motions over and over again. And, he thinks at one point maybe he has to kill everybody, and tries to get that done. But every time he, kills the fifth person, a different person finds him, and it's kind of you're fun, messed up. He's a bad guy, but it is fun to watch him trying to figure out what's going on. How does he get out of this loop? Maybe he needs to become a better person, but maybe he's not a better person at heart. Like, it's just a kind of interesting tale here. I'm glad Brendan Furr finally got a nice meteor role too. I've always enjoyed him. So yeah, Kill Me Again. Interesting. Now horror Groundhog Day. We've had some good. We've had the action version with Frank Grillo. We've had the comedy version with Andy Samberg. Here's your horror version if you like that trope.
Well, we had Happy Death
Kill Me Again. True. But this is now. That's the heroine, like Final Girl version. This is now from the killer. so
this is. I'm a sucker for time loop movies like those.
Me too.
I don't know why. It's just one of those subgenres I've always really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Just because, when they go back and everything's like a little different. Every decision they make changes, the course of things. And so this is one I think you must have told me about because I had not heard of this before. And I actually started watching it, and I don't know why I didn't finish it, but I never got back to it. So maybe I'll finish that tonight after we get done here.
Get back to it. I'm interested in what you think about the ending too. No, we'll go further than that. We'll
because I liked what I saw so far in it. And it's it has an interesting cast too because there's like 5 or 6 different like UFC fighters in there. So
is there? I think that would have
like Max Trujillo, Keith Jardine's in there, Michelle Waterson's in there. I want to say Donald Cerrone's in there. A bunch of people I recognize from MMA. What I saw was all right, so I'm going to check out the rest of it at some point.
Nice. What'd you get
next on my list, number 6 is the new version of Silent Night, Deadly Night. This is one that just kind of came out of nowhere and showed up. I decided to see it. The original ones are pretty cheesy. They're definitely like 80s cheese, straight to VHS. I mean, they got theatrical releases, but they feel like straight to VHS. Horror movies with bad acting and all that stuff. But I mean, for 80s splatterfest, they are what they are. This one, I think, takes things a little more seriously. I mean, there's some fun stuff in it, but it's more of a serious horror film. It takes some weird turns in it. It kind of changes the whole protagonist and motivations, and some of the scenes in it and what he does are a little surprising. But it was bloody. It was fun. The girl you see there was actually in Happy Death Day. We were just talking about that. She was like the roommate. The guy I'm not familiar with. I have not seen him anywhere. But his name is Rohan Campbell. Apparently he was in The Monkey and Halloween Ends, but I don't remember him in this. So.
Oh, did you see Halloween Ends?
I saw them. I don't remember it. Really. I saw one time.
He's like the new main dude. He's Corey. He's that guy.
Oh, is he? Okay. See, I forgot about the movies that sucked, so I didn't remember.
Yeah, well, good for you. That's one of the reasons I didn't jump to this movie because I was like,
so evil dies on Silent Night, apparently. But yeah, this one I think it was a lot of fun. I think if you like your slasher films bloody, if you like them a little bit weird, this is one to check out.
Keith Jardine, shout out to Keith Jardine. And lots of love for Keith Jardine, evidently, huh? I don't know, the same person twice. I'm definitely interested in it. I don't know, is it even out on streaming or maybe on VOD? But yeah,
I think it might have just hit streaming. No, actually not yet. No,
okay,
it'll be out soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe I'll wait till next Christmas because it's they lost that for people that didn't get to see it in theaters. Number 6, I know it's a bit divisive. I know some people actually don't like it as much as I did, but I was excited for the main performer. Maybe I have his action figure signed on my wall, whatever. The Luckiest Man in America, and yes, Paul Walter Howard does have an action figure, and yes, it is on my wall. So this is based on a true story of a guy that went on a game show, but he had studied it beforehand and found the loop, found out when to, I guess it was pressure luck, when to literally press his luck, and he knew how. There you go. Oh, which you know what? That's definitely one of those in the ether things that I definitely have said in the past without having any clues of why I'm saying it. You know,
Oh, I
people
used to,
like
anytime I was home from school sick or something, I'd be watching game shows like this all day long.
yeah, see, I'm pretty sure this is gone by the time I'm watching stuff
I'm
like
old,
I'm
man.
watching
I'm old.
Wheel of Fortune and Days of Our Lives for me. But yeah, I don't know. Again, it's got a really fun side cast as well. Walton Goggins is your host. The dude next to him, you've seen in a bunch of stuff. And yeah, again, I really like Paul Walter Hauser. I wish they had dug a little deeper into the background. They do it kind of just enough, but I do wish there was more. I think there was more meat on the bones. I think more people would like this, but I still dug the journey, the unique tale, and Walter Hauser getting a rare leading performance. As this, and like Richard Jewell, he doesn't get to do it as often, but I think he's kind of perfectly casted in this movie personally. What you got at number 5?
Number 5, I have a movie. This one was on Amazon Prime, and it's still there if you want to see it, called Deep Cover. Deep Cover is a story of basically this improv class teacher and a couple of her students that are hired by Sean Bean to in London to basically act as part of a sting operation. They need to use them as actors, but they need people who can improv, who can think on their feet and go along with the flow of whatever happens. It's definitely a comedy. Bryce Dallas Howard, she doesn't act much anymore. She does a lot of directing and things like that. So I like seeing her pop up and stuff because I really like her. Orlando Bloom is just having a ball. You can tell he gets to play a very different character he's ever played before. He's a little offbeat. He's a little weird, but he's having fun playing his role. And then the other guy, Nick Mohammed, who I only know from Ted Lasso, he's pretty good as well. But it's like just a really fun comedy. It's kind of a unique idea. I haven't seen done before, something like this. And they're seeing the real CIA, or not CIA, but the real agents like Sean Bean and them, and kind of how they conflict with this group. It's a lot of fun, and it's one definitely worth checking out that went under the radar.
Yeah, no, actually, again, I have a positive review of this as well on Letterboxd here. So I don't know, maybe it wasn't as unpopular when I looked through the list because they probably would have made my list as well here. Yeah, just enough fun. I just had Bloom's a reason to watch. Mohammed again from Ted Lasso. Yeah, good stuff. My number 5 is the why can't I think of words? But yeah, the thriller, if you will, of She Rides Shotgun. Taron Egerton here in the lead here as a guy who kind of kidnaps his daughter, and they go on a bit of not a violent spree, but of course, violence does unfortunately follow him as he's trying to figure out the future between them here as well. I thought the relationship between them was pretty good here. Again, I wish there was maybe a little more deeper parts to it, but again, the elements that are here, you got John Carroll Lynch gets to kind of flex a little bit as a villain, which is fun. One of the few Odessa Azion appearances of the year.
One of many,
She
yes.
had a nice busy year. And yeah, so just the things that are there are quite works here. I mean, I feel like we've seen again a movie we've seen versions of before, but again, you at least have really good actors at the forefront here to where it is still definitely something I do recommend here. And again, I think the ending does a pretty good job too. So it does land the ending for the most part for me as well.
That's what I intended to watch and never got around to. So I'm glad to hear that you liked it. So I'll definitely check it out. My next one is one I think a lot more people have heard of, but it was pretty far down the list as far as popularity according to Letterboxd. That's Freaky Tales. Freaky Tales is basically a movie. It's 3 or 4 short stories. It's kind of the usual thing where they kind of intertwine and they all kind of come together in the end. This one it stars Pedro Pascal. It's probably the biggest name in it. It's got Ben Mendelsohn in it. Dominic Thorne, who's just an Ironheart. Jack Champion from Avatar. Angus Cloud, I think it's one of his last, if not his last role. This is like most movies that have like multiple stories. Some are stronger than others. Tom Hanks even appears in this, but and some are better than others. It definitely kind of goes for like this 80s vibe to it, or kind of late 80s. It's kind of a techno noir kind of soundtrack to it. It takes place entirely in Oakland. It's definitely weird. I mean, Freaky Tales is an apropos title. It's one of those things that was never going to make my best of the year list, but each of the individual stories I really did enjoy. When they try to tie them together, it some kind of works, kind of doesn't. But that's most anthologies like this.
Dude, I really like this movie actually. Here again, I don't know if it was just there was things that were more popular or less popular rather for this list, but I 100% recommend this movie as well.
It was
Again,
not near the
it's
bottom of the list as far as popularity, but it was pretty far
yeah.
down. So I was like,
No, this
I'm
is
still gonna count it.
easily a top five, maybe even number two if it had been on my list here. So huge recommendation for me as well here. Yeah, this really worked more than I thought it would. It's one of those like, okay, it's on HBO Max. All right, well, I mean, it's a new release. Like that's literally kind of like why I watched it. I knew Hanks was in it for a tiny bit, Pedro obviously, but yeah, no, this thing really worked for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
dug the
comedy
vibe.
worked, the like
Yeah,
mystery worked,
the
the action worked
the
for me.
violence is there, like like it has the enough budget, enough quirkiness. Like yeah, it's a weird mix, but it worked like for on a pretty decent level here. So yeah, definitely big recommendation. I believe just in my general like top 30ish of the year.
Mhm.
So let's see. Number four, again, kind of being a little serious here. Sovereign is a movie that I checked out with Nick Offerman and Jacob Tremblay here. He's very anti-government, doesn't quite, go by the rules here. If you pull him over, he's gonna say he's a sovereign citizen, try to fight it that way.
Ugh, one of the
Nick Offerman is the lead here. I like to think this is basically like if you've ever seen Parks and Rec, this is like what if that character just went over the edge? Because like again, it's really similar. Like even in Parks and Rec, he's kind of anti-government and wants to be kind of left alone and whatnot. But this is like that next level here. And I think Nick Offerman is fantastic in this here. So is Tremblay, who's kind of going through the, if you will, like American History X level of like trying to like battle the love and respect of his father, but then maybe not necessarily being into what he's doing, but believing in it as well here too. So it's a very big ramp up movie, just like She Rides Shotgun. In a way, you're very much ramping up to an end. In a way, maybe I could flip flop these two because I do think this one doesn't nail the ending as tight, or at least it kind of wraps up quicker than I had kind of hoped. Dennis Quaid's really good on a side role as the main officer, kind of in charge of figuring out what's going on. But again, the performances here are what kind of put it over the edge for me here. Nick Offerman really good in this role. So yeah, Sovereign coming in at number four.
I've never even heard of this one, but it's now the fifth
Hey,
movie we
found one.
talked about that I've added to my watch list. So
Found one. There we go. Yeah, movies too. There you go.
My next one, it was almost my number one at one point. The other two movies I like more, although they're probably a little bit more popular than this one. This is as far as the ones that has not been seen by a lot of people, and that's Dust Bunny. Dust Bunny is a weird fucking movie. It's basically it's directed by Brian Fuller and written by Brian Fuller, who's the guy who did TV shows like Pushing Daisies. He did Dead Like Me.
Right.
He did Wonder Falls. So if you've ever seen anything this guy does, his stuff's always a little surreal, almost fairy tale like. It's definitely got comedy into it. But this is the movie. It basically is The Professional if it was directed by like the guy who did like Serious Unfortunate Events or Wonka or something like that. Because the story is basically he's this assassin. Mads Mikkelsen is this assassin, and like this girl who lives basically down the hall from him, just like a Professional, is like her family is killed, and these people are coming trying to get her, and he's defending her. But this is a far more fantastical version of that because there's also these creatures, this Dust Bunny, which is supposedly this creature that's killing anybody who comes into this building. She hires him to try and protect her and get the people who killed her parents. It's like I said, it's a weird movie. You can see here, it's got very fantastical aspects to it. Sigourney Weaver shows up in it. David Dastmalchian shows up in it, and they feel very much the adult cast, like David and Sigourney. They feel very much kind of like the characters that show up in the Serious Unfortunate Events. It's kind of they're almost like cartoony versions or like how a kid would see them. But this was a movie. It's bizarre, but it was my perfect kind of bizarre. I just loved the hell out of this movie.
I was trying to remember the other day, like, why do I want to watch this? I forgot it was the Pushing Daisies guys would, hey, look, daisies, holy shit! Anyway, there's daisies in the movie. So yeah, once I heard that, I'm into it, and even in general too, like watching the trailer and Mads Mikkelsen, but no one's from that guy. Yeah, it definitely sells me something I'm looking at too. I know someone was asked about Nick Offerman and Oscar race. I don't think anyone saw the movie. I think it has no shot just because no one's talking about it. Is it good enough? I would say so, but. My number three here is an EMT drama comedy, Code 3, starring Rainn Wilson from The Office here. He's got a new trainee under his stock there, the female Amy something, and then also Roy Howard is usually one of his main partner as well. They have that fun kind of like, oh, you again, but they kind of they get along here, and it's interesting. He breaks the fourth wall, kind of describes the day these EMTs have. They're underpaid, they're overworked, but not a lot of them last very long. There's other people like Rainn Wilson that have been in it for a very long time, maybe too long, and he of course flirts with the idea of getting out. I was just intrigued. Again, I think the performances are really great. I was intrigued, from the tale here. This is one that I could even see being like a fun, deep series. I almost kind of wanted to keep going in a way. And again, even I kind of like the ending here. The last little monologue worked for me as well that Rainn Wilson gives. Side performance by Yvette Nicole Brown. Yeah, this one was one that I was intrigued by and kind of wanted to get to as soon as I could, and worked for me when I finally saw it. Code 3, coming number 3, and I didn't do it for the pun, I swear. What do you have at number 2?
At number 2, I have a Netflix movie this time, and this is Havoc, starring Tom Hardy. This is directed by Gareth Evans, who is the guy who made The Raid and The Raid 2, among other movies. So you kind of know what you're getting when you come into this movie. This movie is just like, okay, here's the skeleton of a story that's just an excuse to string together a whole bunch of really kick-ass, brutal action scenes. And I've been waiting for this movie to come out for like 2-3 years. It was supposed to come out. They kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And it finally came out, of course, on Netflix. But if you know what you're getting into, it delivers exactly what you're expecting from this movie. Tom Hardy plays the same character Tom Hardy always plays. Just kind of gruff but kicking ass. But the real star of this movie is the action and the choreography of it, because I think that this guy who did The Raid and The Raid 2, which are like action classics in terms of how they do the fight scenes and just the kinetic feel of the action. He does a great job here as well. Forrest Whitaker and Timothy Olyphant are in there. Luis Guzman's in there, so it's got a good supporting cast to it. I'd say my one criticism of it really was that there was a little too much use of like some shaky cam, which to some extent it works, to kind of create a chaotic feeling in some scenes, but sometimes movies use it a little bit too much. I think this one did that. There's also, I think, some CGI, the blood that's not, a little iffy. I would rather they went practical with that. But I just really enjoyed it quite a bit. So it's fun.
I do like the Anne Hathaway version. Coming in my number 2.
That's good too. Yeah.
Anyway, I meant to make that joke with Deep Cover and be like, "Where's Lawrence Fishburne?" Well, so I got to the joke sooner or later. My number 2. Hey, what a surprise! Yeah. It's a wrestling movie, Queen of the Ring. I think it's completely underseen and under talked about for the year here. This one takes again a unique look into the world of wrestling. We're now into I'm bad with decades. Let's say the 30s, maybe the 40s, maybe the 50s. I don't know. Whatever, one of those. And this is back when actually for in most areas, women's wrestling is outlawed here. Again, women's wrestling wouldn't really even get respect, I feel, to the 2010s, maybe late 2000s. So this is like the real early beginnings of that here as one of the most famous female wrestlers at the time, and Mildred Burke, who later on became kind of like a posthumous Hall of Famer here. And yeah, just trying to get respect, again, build a life for her family as well. It's really well acted by her. Some good wrestler cameos as well. A lot of the people she fights, sometimes they're actresses, Deborah Ann Woll from True Blood and whatnot. But if you're a wrestling fan, several people, including her major opponent, is Camilla Kane from NWA and AEW. Other people, Jim Cornette's in a tiny bit here. But again, just another unique look into the world of professional wrestling that especially this era and especially for women hasn't been told yet. And I thought they did a pretty good job doing it here. And I hope more people check it out if you haven't already. We are now at the tippy top of the list. Brian, what's your favorite underseen movie of the year?
My number 1, I almost didn't put on the list because I felt this was too high profile. It's too well known. And then I realized apparently it's not, because only like 6 of my friends total on Letterboxd have even seen it. And when it's sorted by popularity, out of like 170 movies or whatever I've seen this year, this is like 108. So it's like down towards the bottom of it. And that's Play Dirty. Play Dirty is a movie that is just, it's in my top 10 of the year, just overall movies. Now this is not the Ron Perlman one by 2 movies by the title came out this year. This is not that one.
I almost asked that, then I was like, nobody's seen the Ron Perlman one. Never mind.
No, this is a Shane Black film, written and directed by Shane Black, starring Mark Wahlberg, Lakeith Stanfield, Rosa Salazar, Keegan-Michael Key is in there, Nat Wolff, Thomas Jane, Tony Shalhoub. Shane Black is just like a director that I really enjoy. Everybody kind of has somebody who kind of like is just their perfect taste. Shane Black seems to be that for me. His blend of action and comedy, his like sarcastic dialogue that he gives all the characters, is always so much fun to me. The characters he creates are so much fun. Now this is based on the Parker books, which was also the source for like Jason Statham's Parker. It was Mel Gibson's Payback was the same thing. There's some older films too that are also based on the same series of books. This is based on those books, but Shane Black, obviously completely rewrote the story and the screenplay. This is one that, like his other movies, it's like, a crime comedy. So it has the action, it has the mystery a little bit. It has a lot of, people, who's stabbing who's back, who's on whose side. So it's a lot of, the usual kind of stuff you get from Shane Black movie. It doesn't quite reach the heights of like Nice Guys and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang at all, because I mean those are great films. This one I really enjoyed. Not everyone seemed to enjoy it as much as me. I seem to be the outlier on this. A lot of people didn't like this. I loved this movie. I had a ton of fun for it. I also liked that it had like a score by Alan Silvestri, which felt like a real throwback to like kind of 80s and 90s kind of action films. So even just the tone of it worked real well for me. Yeah, it's one that not everybody's gonna love, but for me, I did, and I was surprised at how low on the popularity list it was. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm putting it on.
No, I have a positive review for this as well. I'm a little lower than you, but no, I have a positive review, and probably another one that maybe we looked at the list a little differently, or maybe it just popped up differently. But again, probably would have put it on if it had been. I don't know. However, I looked at it, just looked differently. But yeah, no, another one. But I do agree that as far as like talking wise, I haven't really heard anyone really talk about this here because I was excited for it. I mean, Shane Black, this cast here, the Wolf Brothers, really fun as well. Yeah, no, this one is still it's definitely fun to watch. And it was an Apple,
I
right?
recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime Video. I mean, you can rent it and stuff
Prime,
at the other digital places, but Prime is free, so check it out.
Absolutely, and the Ron Perlman one's not very good, so don't watch that. Because I did see that too. My number one is My Dead Friend Zoe here. A movie about two friends from the war. One of them unfortunately does pass away here, and she's haunted by her. And that misses her sense here, and thinks she could have been there maybe more for her. Fantastic performance by Sonequa Martin Green here. Maybe you've seen from she's one of the Star Trek shows, but also Walking Dead. Natalie Morales, who by the way has played a dead friend that talks to her. Yeah. She was in that other one with Jillian Bell. So it has a really weird niche where she's your dead friend that talks to you. Just thought that was weird that she's done that twice. Probably didn't want to admit it too. I imagine in the room, like, hope no one saw that movie.
She's actually the main reason I watched this. I really like Natalie Morales. So.
No, she's cool. I just watched her today. She has an arc on Parks and Rec again. She's almost Aziz likes her on Parks and Rec. So, yeah, and a good side performances too as well. Ed Harris is Sneak's like stepdad. Morgan Freeman is in part of the therapy group. I think there's some really good like turns to as to what like the actual like heartbreak is too. Like there's a bit of a twist as to what you think the heartbreak is that I very much related to as to why she thinks she could have done more for her and whatnot. And again, I think it really works here. I think again, great performances and a story that I think hit home, supremely well acted here. Something that I've championed from the first half of the year all the way to still now at the end of the year as well. So My Dead Friend Zoe, definitely one I think is worth checking out for show. I said faux show. I meant for sure, but I came out faux show.
Faux show.
Brian, you want to list your 10 one more time?
Yeah. At number 10, I have. So I wrote this back up.
I also have it here.
At number 9, 40 Acres. At number 8, Fackham Hall. Number 7, Fight or Flight. 6, Silent Deadly Night. 5, Deep Cover. 4, Freaky Tales. 3, Dust Bunny. 2, Havoc. And number 1, Play Dirty.
Fackham Hall. What the Hall ever do to you? Number 10 for me is Paradise Records. 9, Psychotherapy. Something. 8, Coyote. 7, Kill Me Again. 6, The Luckiest Man in America. Number 5, She Rides Shotgun. Number 4, Salver. Number 3, Code 3. Number 2, Queen of the Ring. Number 1, My Dead Friend Zoe here. So
I like that we had no crossover.
Yeah, I was just about to say 0 crossovers. Not a lot of arguments too. Like even the ones that weren't on my list were very close, or maybe just we saw different popularities. So that's kind of cool too. Because again, I do also recommend Neighborhood Watch, Deep Cover. Definitely recommend Freaky Tales for sure, and Play Dirty too. So yeah, if some of these you haven't seen for any reason, go check them out. That's kind of what this was for. Yeah, some even good stuff in the comments. I haven't seen Christy. I think that's the boxing one with what's her face.
Yeah, what's
Like her name.
Sydney Sweeney. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I couldn't. I remember something else, but not her name. Hey, am I right? Okay, sorry. So, Brian, any plugs or parting words?
I don't do plugs. I will say parting words. Just I like being on here, having fun. Getting show you guys some movies that you haven't seen. Maybe I had more obscure ones I thought about talking about, but most of those I was kind of like they were all right. So I decided to push the one I like better. But thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, anytime here. Yeah, that was a fun, interesting idea. Definitely we'll do it again, maybe next year, maybe even during the halfway year, depending on how things check out. So, yeah, stay tuned. Lots of tournament matches coming up. Not for Brian, he hates tournaments, but for everyone else who has lots of fun in the tournament. So, we love you more than you'll ever know. Good night. Wait, Brian. It's a really long outro. Oh, I didn't hit end stream.